not only have I not done this video yet, and probably in the last booktuber to do this on YouTube, but I've never done this tag before.
You're gone now. Will you call me back? Yeah.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie, and today I am doing my very first mid-year freak out book tag, which I've surprisingly have never done, but I've watched the videos, so there's no excuse. I do apologize, but I'm really excited to do this video for you guys. If you don't know what this is about, it's basically a breakdown of your first half of the year as far as your reading taste. And basically you answer a bunch of questions. I will leave the original creator down below, as well as all the questions that I'm answering. So yeah, let's get started. All right, question number 1 is best book that you've read this year. And I don't know why they think anyone's gonna have just one answer, but I'm going to give you 5. For the romance department, I'm going to say Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. It's not my favorite Colleen Hoover, but I loved it just enough for me to have it on this list. It is one of my favorites I've read so far this year, as well as Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I absolutely adore this book. It's my favorite Emily Henry book of the year, and it's probably one that's going to stick with me for quite some time. As for thrillers, I read 2 of the books pretty close together, so I'm really shocked that they both made this list. But I have The Island by Adrienne McKinney. This was such a fun summer read. Highly recommend you pick it up. And then I also have Hidden Pictures by Jason Rereads, I believe is how you say it. I went in expecting something completely different than what I got, and it was such a good pleasant surprise. And then I also want to mention The Good Lie. This one was not a 5-star read for me, but it was such an interesting book, and I read this for my book club here on my channel with Ashley from Ashley's Little Library. We had such a fun discussion on that live show, so I would recommend that you go check it out. Question number 2, best sequel that you've read this year. I don't read sequels. I just don't. But I actually did read a sequel, and I'm actually expecting the 3rd book to be delivered at any minute now. But I picked up The Amendment, which is the sequel to The Arrangement by Kirsten Modulin, and I really, really enjoyed that one. It was not a 5-star read, I think mostly because it is a sequel, but it's definitely like a 4, 4.5 in my opinion, so I would definitely pick it up if you're curious. I don't want to give too much details away because it does spoil a lot of what happens in the first book, but I'm really excited for the last book in the series. All right, question number 3 is favorite rereads, and they're both by the same author. I have Reminders of Him, which I actually read twice within like a month because I loved it so much, and I also had to read it for a book club discussion. And then I also reread Verity by Colleen Hoover. I reread Verity at the beginning of the year every year. I don't know why. I think it's one of those things where like you're starting the year out like with a favorite, kind of like sets the tone. I don't know, but I just love Verity. It's one of my favorites to reread by Colleen Hoover, so I would recommend rereading a favorite at the beginning of the year. All right, question number 4 is what genres have you been reading the most this year? And it's kind of obvious. Historical fiction. Just kidding. It's actually thrillers. Yeah, that's just my go-to jam. Like, I love thrillers. I don't ever seem like I'm getting bored with them. It's not something I ever want to like stop reading anytime soon, but I am trying to add a little bit more romance. I used to love romance, and then I just kind of got like sick and tired of it, so I'm trying to incorporate romance into my reading, so we'll see. Question number 5 is new releases that you have not read yet. So I am still reading The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager, and I am waiting for The Atonement, which is the 3rd book in the Arrangement series, to come in the mail. They were both released pretty recently in the month of June, so I want to read those very quickly, and yeah, those are the 2 that I'm going to say for that. Question number 6 is most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. So I did have to write these down, but I have 4 that I want to talk about. Coming out in September, I have A Familiar Stranger by A.R. Torre. I want to pick this one up just because the cover kind of sold me. The synopsis sounds really good. I had such a great time reading The Good Lie, so I definitely want to check out more by this author. Then in October, we have It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is the prequel or the sequel. I'm not 100% sure of It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And my friend Gwen was so sweet and pre-ordered a copy for me for my birthday because my birthday is in October. So I'm really, really excited to read that one. Thank you so much, Gwen. And also Keep in the Family by John Mars. I feel like this one sounds super interesting. John Mars and I haven't had the best track record, so I definitely want to read more by him, but like also not have high hopes, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Then in the month of December, I have another book. I have the NetGalley arc for that one, but it comes out in December, and it's We Knew All Along. This one just sounds like a high school college reunion mixed with Every Value Break by Peter Swanson, which I know not a lot of people liked that book, but I feel like this one just sounds super good, and I'm so excited to read it. Question number 7 is biggest disappointment of the year, and I have 2. And although they were disappointments, I want to also preference this that I'm thankful that I read them, because it definitely made me realize something about what I do and don't like about certain books. The first one is The Missing by Kirsten Modulin, which kind of pains me because I love this author, but I did not like this one, and I know this is like a really popular trend, but I think I don't like island thrillers, which is kind of sad because when you think of an island thriller, it just sounds like a perfect, especially now, but I don't think I like island thrillers. So yeah, which is weird. I liked The Island, but this, I feel like this is a different scenario. But also An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. And with that one, I've come to the realization that I don't like cults in my books. I think they're interesting as like nonfiction, which I don't typically read. But in fiction, I realize I don't like cults. I don't know why. So yeah, moving on. Next question, which is number 8, says biggest surprise of the year. And I'm going to go back to The Island and Hidden Pictures, and I'll explain why. So with The Island, I know the author had wrote The Chain, and I've heard terrible things about this book. Terrible things. Like, I've heard the first half is amazing, the second half is not great at all. You know, I already had those like set in my mind that, you know, I'm not going to like this book, but then my friend Ashley said that she really enjoyed it and she hasn't felt a thrill from a book since No Exit, so I was like, sold. And then with Hidden Pictures, I kept hearing people saying like, if you love Stephen King, you're going to like this. If you are, you know, the writing style and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, okay. I like Stephen King, but it's a weird relationship with Stephen King. So I was kind of nervous to read it, but like I've heard such great things. And as I'm reading it, I would not compare it to Stephen King, like at all. Like, I would compare the vibe and the writing style to Riley Sager over Stephen King, if that makes sense. Hopefully it did. I don't know. I really enjoyed both of them. And then moving on to the next question is any new favorite authors, new to you, debut. And I'm going to go back to The Island and the Hidden Pictures because I haven't read anything by these authors. I think Hidden Pictures may be a debut of like this genre for this author, so I definitely want to keep my eye out for any new releases by him. And then I definitely want to try picking up The Chain and Anything Else by Adrian McKinney. So yeah, I really liked their writing style, so I want to check them out. Like, I'm not writing them off at all. Question 11 says new favorite characters, and I'm gonna go with Charlie and Nora from Book Lovers. I just loved their chemistry, their banter, which is kind of unique. Like, it's not a hate to love, which I was like, kind of expecting, but like I really, really enjoyed their banter and their chemistry, and like their romance was so flippin' cute. I loved and adored them. Actually, that was question number 10. So now we're on question number 11, which is a book that made you cry. I'm going to go with Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover, but I'm also going to say One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. And they made me cry for different reasons. For Reminders of Him, the romance and the relationship between the two main characters, but also the fact of her trying to get custody or like trying to see her own daughter and like what actually happened back then. Oh, bawled my eyes out. And then with One Italian Summer, I did tear up quite a bit because it does have that mother-daughter relationship, especially because the mother has passed away. You know that very early on in the book, so it's not a spoiler, but just that grief process of like trying to, you know, reconnect with your mother, but like also, I don't know, it just different reasons. I loved both of these books for crying. And going back on the opposite end of the spectrum, number 12 is a book that made you happy. And I'm going to go back to Book Lovers. Like that was just like cozy, like warm and fuzzy feelings with a romance. I loved that book. I loved the small town vibes, the characters, the romance. Like it was just everything I wanted in a book. So the question number 13 is most beautiful cover that you've bought. And I have not read this one. And I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I really love the cover. But it's Sick Fucks by Tilly Cole, I believe is the author. And I just love the cover. It's like super dark and mysterious, but like also like pretty. Sounds super weird. Question number 14 is what books do you need to read before the end of the year? So I need to read The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager because I will be a guest on my friend Gwen's podcast, Talk Bookish to Me, and we are doing a full-on thriller book discussion on The House Across the Lake. So I need to read that, which I'm in the middle of right now. So that's definitely going to happen. Also, in case you're curious, that episode will be live on this date here at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you go follow and listen and check out that episode as well. The other books I would like to read by the end of the year is definitely Lucinda Berry's Backlist. I have quite a few, like maybe 3 or 4 that I still need to get to. And then I also have her newest release on my Kindle from NetGalley that I want to read as well, that comes out in January. So all of those books need to get done. Question number 15 is what post or video or other content have you done that you're proud of? And I have 2 in mind that I'm like really like super proud of, and like also like it's gonna stick with me forever. But I would say the one where Justin and I went to Barnes & Noble and I gave him a $50 gift card and I told him to buy me whatever he wants, and he did so well. I loved how that video turned out. I think it's one of my favorite videos that you as the viewers have liked, so thank you so much. Justin really appreciates that. I told him we'll have to get him back here on the camera again. And then the other one is my collab with Jordan and Gwen. I just loved seeing those ladies and also like doing like a fun little collab video, so make sure you go check out those videos. I'll have those linked down in the description as well. And then the last question is who are your favorite book community members? Where do I begin? So I'm just gonna throw a few out there. So if you weren't mentioned, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to like wrap up this video, but we have Jacqueline, Jordan, Gwen, Lena, Ashley, Lauren from Lauren Loves Reads. We have Lexi, Gabby, Beth, Elizabeth. Like, you guys are awesome. I'm so happy that we've chatted quite a few times or met in person. So yeah. All right, guys, that is everything for this video. So sorry if it's a little bit on the longer side, but I really enjoyed doing this tag with y'all. I'm not tagging anyone because I don't think that's the rules. I think you're just supposed to do it. So if you want to do this video, feel free or consider yourself tagged. But make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos coming up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Once you've seen all the things, all the places, I hope it means